Thanks.
So first show of the season wrapped up. Bit of a It was a good day. It was a good weekend. It was a nice build up. The peak was lovely. Everything was. It was a really really good process. Like we said last week, what we were doing, and I think like everything went pretty much to plan. Like we learned a lot. We got a lot of data from it. But at the same time, it was a bit of a bittersweet. Are you all right?
Yeah, just moving the seat.
Yeah, I was gonna say a bit all over the place, mate. You can't sit still. So yeah, it was a bit of a. I still don't really know how to feel about it. I think I'll look back at this as a positive. Like
It's a learning curve.
It's a learning curve, yeah. But at the end of the day, like, so for anybody who doesn't know, I got second out of 4, and I've lost before. I'll lose again in the future, and this time it just felt a bit different in the sense of like how it was perceived. And I'm not one to, like, let's say throw out that, oh, I got robbed, or I felt like I got treated unfairly, because at the end of the day it's an opinion on how you look. Objectively, that was the best I've ever looked when it came to like how my physique was, how I looked beforehand. In general, like everything, I thought I literally was stupidly proud of how everything had gone. The day before, the day of, I was like, Jesus Christ, I look really good. I was full, I was dry, too dry, if anything.
Very dry.
So dry on stage. But in all aspects, it was a really, really good look in every single situation. I felt good, I felt present. It was a case where like there wasn't really anything that I could like pinpoint and say, oh well, I didn't do this well enough, in the sense of like, for example, I couldn't not get a pump. I probably could be fuller in certain ways, but like it wasn't where, like, for every show of my previous season, it was either I was flat, or I say flat, I didn't even spill. I wasn't full, but that time I was full. Was I full? Probably not. I probably could have been a touch fuller, but in general, in every aspect, I was like, yeah, I was really, really happy. I posed about 20 to 30 minutes before I went on. And I like looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, Jesus Christ, like this is a really, really good look. Like I said this to Finn, I think a day out, it was on Saturday. And I said to Finn, like, I'm so critical. I come across really confident, but I'm so critical in every single aspect of how I look. As you are when you take care and put a lot of work into how you're going to demonstrate yourself. And I looked to myself 30 minutes before stage and I was like, wow, I literally don't even recognize myself. Like I was I was blown away of how I looked, which is the first time I think in my entire life. And then when you don't get, I'm not gonna say rewarded, but when it doesn't go your way in the sense of a result, it's almost a little bit of a challenging one to kind of take. And it was one of them where, like, for example, I finished second. I would have preferred to have finished fourth, in the sense of I was up against 3 dudes who were all relatively similar, in the sense of all 3 black individuals, black gentlemen. They all had similar shapes. No, but they all had like a similar sort of men's physique. And I don't want to, this isn't racist, but it's like a black guy sort of shape.
More bubbly a lot of the time.
Yeah, bubbly, like tight midsections, round bubbly abs, like thick abs. And PCA, genuinely, like that's a look that physique is just like, it's almost like you have that, cool, you're going to be good in
like
physique.
you say, it's not in any way racist, because if you look at the top of the sport, a lot of the best bodybuilders are black.
Yeah.
A lot of the best sprinters are black. Like it's not in any way racist. It's just saying that genetically, often they are, let's say, they have a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
And also, like you say, like their shape and stuff like that, and the round bubbly muscle, like a lot of the time for somebody who's white, it probably is going to be difficult. You get the odd person who you think, oh, they've got like really good genetics, but it's not racist in any way. It's just a statement that
I was the 4th one to go on, and they was all stood in front of me, and I remember looking at their backs and I was like, I'm up against like pretty much the same dude 3 times, just a few different things. And that's not me trying to say they all look the same. It's literally just how they were built. So I was like, okay, cool, let's see how things go. I felt good heading on. Everything was sound. I was really happy with how things were. And then I got moved to the middle. So they pretty much, I was the first one to move. I got moved to the middle, and then they moved everyone around me. So I was like, okay, cool. Like they've moved everyone pretty much to compare against me. I've probably won. And I should mention beforehand, like I couldn't really tell, but basically there was a bit of an issue. You'd be able to see by the footage and stuff like that. I couldn't glaze up.
It wasn't a bit of an issue.
Yeah, it was a massive. It was the issue. It was the issue. Pretty much, I got my own tan sorted, and the PCA know me relatively well. Like the dude that does the interviews I was chatting to beforehand, like backstage, the guy that calls us on literally didn't even call my name out. He just goes, "Oh yeah, Reece is here." Like, and then he said, "I follow you on Instagram." He was like, "You look sick," and I was like, "Oh, thanks, mate." Like it was quite a nice, like it was nice backstage, but they all knew me. And when I walked out, they immediately said, "You haven't paid for glaze." And I was like, "How do you even know? Like, you haven't paid for the tan?" And I was like, "How do you even know that?" Like, they literally said straight away, "You haven't paid. We can't glaze you up." And I said, "Well, I've got my own glaze. Can you just like dab it on me?" And they were like, "No, we can't." So I was like, "Okay, wicked." And you're in a really dark room. Like, you literally, like, you can't.
And at that point, you're like 2 minutes before going on.
You're
so
also being told. Yeah, you're also
like...
being told. 2 minutes till you're on, lads. 2 minutes till you're on. So I basically like ran backstage. I got my glaze, and I like asked a dude, "Can you glaze me up?" And my tan already was stupidly dark.
Tan was too dark.
My skin soaks up tan in every single show. I'm always the darkest one out of like every single person I'm up against. My skin
even against the black guys.
Even against the black guys, I'm the darkest one. I always soak up tan. I think I need 2 layers. Two layers is too much.
Yeah, I think you just need one.
Yeah, 1 layer. That's what we're going to do this weekend, and then just like touch me up if needed.
Yeah.
So Finn's going to be touching me up, but pretty much I couldn't really glaze up efficiently. I got a dude to kind of do it, but I needed to like soak myself.
A lot.
Yeah, and like I said, you don't really know because you even if the room was lit, you can't really tell until.
As well, like, I messaged you probably 10 minutes before you went on. And I said plenty of glaze. Remember?
I didn't see the message.
No, I know you won't.
Yeah, you don't. You're not on your phone. You're not sat. Like,
I thought that.
You're pumping up. But I like literally thought to myself, okay, I feel like you don't really, like I said, you can't really tell. And I've walked out, and I'm not hearing someone say glaze or whatever. Like you just go through your posing.
Yeah, you don't really. It's like one of the last things you think about. It's like just before you go on, you're like, yeah, put my glaze on. Like it's not one thing that you really even think about before that.
So like I didn't even realise till Finn said afterwards. Like we'll get into this anyway. I'll carry on. But moved to the middle. Went through my individual kind of posing. I was really happy with like how I posed. But Finn said that by like the time that I got through like a couple rounds of transitions, I got better. Because I was sweating. And it's quite funny. Like my back, for example, was actually glazed based on the fact that I was sweating, and my back looked peeled.
But you didn't look like you were sweating like.
No.
Traditionally on a bodybuilding stage, you'll see people sweating it like the tan all drips.
Yeah.
And, like, it wasn't like that at all.
No.
It was just like, oh, he's a bit warm. Yeah. He actually looks like he's got a bit of glaze on now. He looks better.
Yeah, I practiced my posing enough to the point
when
where
you came
I
out,
could
you
go
looked
through...
like a non-player character. You know, like when it's like you haven't unlocked that player yet.
Was it that bad?
Yeah, you just look dull.
Yeah.
Like and you, like I've said, you look too big and your shorts didn't fit.
Yeah.
So like already it was like you still look mint.
Yeah.
Like I like laughed when you came out because you looked too big, and it was just a bit like. And then I was like, why has he got no glaze on?
Yeah.
And then I was like, his tan's really dark. And then I was like, this is a bit weird. Like, and then I was nervous before. It's like I didn't know any of that was going to happen.
So I said
I was nervous
you
before.
were really nervous, like
because I had I almost had this feeling that it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I felt like something was going to go wrong, but like I just had this feeling that. I don't know why I didn't feel as confident as I should have done, and then that happened. And I was like, it's like I almost knew that something wasn't going to be right. And then I thought I was like, I should have just been there. I should have been backstage. Yeah, like because then you can't really go wrong.
No,
like,
you can't.
But you live and learn, don't you?
Yeah, and it's funny because back beforehand, Finn was like, "Do you want me to like sneak round or come round?" And I was like, "I'm Sam."
We were like, "We don't need to." We were too fair. I said earlier, we were both a bit naive.